Hi, welcome. My name is Tracey Cook and welcome to the podcast series Victim to Victory. This series gives a voice to those that have overcome obstacles in all forms, that dare greatly to share their real stories. Amazing humans that have seen hope and risen above those adversities to become victorious, that now support and inspire others to do the same. And today we are giving a voice to Stacey Hall. Welcome to the podcast series.
Tracey, it is a joy to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're more than welcome. Now, before we get into your story and why you're actually here as well, I've got a little bit of a bio to share with our audience today about the amazing, inspiring, empowering Stacey Hall. And she is known as the Go for Yes gal. It is all over media. You will find her everywhere because of her groundbreaking social media marketing training program called Go for Yes. Now, this Go for Yes program has helped thousands, thousands of entrepreneurs that to attract more sales, satisfaction, and success. Now, Stacey Hall leads from her heart. She treasures this acknowledgement of her accomplishments, and you are one of the most dynamic people I have encountered on the internet, is one of the accomplishments acknowledged. Now, not only that, this woman is absolutely amazing, and I'm so grateful for her to share her story with us today. But Stacey has won acclaim for her TEDx Talk, and also as the best-selling author of not one, but two global best-selling books, and we'll be talking about some books today as well, Attracting Perfect Customers and Chi to Be. Now, only recently, this woman is a powerhouse, everybody. You're going to want to check out where you can connect with Stacey, because she is the organizer of a collaborative book series called The Power of Yes. Now, it's already gone to #1 on the Amazon bestseller charts in 4 countries. Now, I was honored to be one of the collaborative authors in the first book in the Power of Yes series, and upcoming the second book as well. Now, Stacey's passion, absolute passion, is to help women entrepreneurs who feel frustrated that they've not been able to make a difference for others they want to make. Now, her Go for Yes fun 4-step formula makes it very, very possible for them to attract their ideal audience, solve the problems of their audience, and leave a positive legacy that lives on long after they are gone. A positive legacy. I love those 2 words. Stacey Hall, you're absolutely amazing. Where does your story start?
Where does it start? Well, I'm going to say, my goodness, you really did your research on me, Tracey. Oh, well, I'm going to say that it started actually, believe it or not, when I was 12 years old. And my parents were on vacation. I was staying with an aunt, and she had a job, a fabulous job. She was head of public relations for Sanyo Electronics, which doesn't exist anymore. But back then, it was, like Sony or Apple. It was that big. And her job was actually head of PR, which meant that she got to manage a budget of money to be able to do good things for the world in order for Sanyo to get a good reputation. To me, I just thought that was the best thing in the whole wide world. She was leaving a legacy of doing good work with somebody else's money. And I fell in love with it. And how I knew is she brought me to work with her every day. And, I was stuffing envelopes or whatever a 12-year-old could do. And I was very aware of the impact she was doing with that money. And it inspired me. And I love to write, and I love to create events. And to me, it was the best possible job in the world. So I went to school. We'll just make this very fast. I went to school. I got my degree in PR, marketing, advertising, radio, and television production. Came out of school to do PR, only to find out that that was a very unusual company. Most companies They got PR departments. It's more publicity. I'm just going to leave it there. And so I went to work in advertising because at least everybody knows when you see an ad, it's an ad. You can make the decision or not whether to use that company or not, or buy that product or not. So I did that in the corporate world for a number of years. I had the opportunity to teach some classes for the Small Business Development Center. And this is about 25 years ago. You can see I'm not 20 anymore. To about 25 years ago, I was teaching the classes and I fell in love with the entrepreneurs who were coming there to learn how to grow a business. The problem was they were teaching everybody that they had to create a business plan in order to get loans. And I'm like, why does an entrepreneur need a loan? Most entrepreneurs are not opening up storefronts. They're working from home. They're life coaches. They're network marketers, right? So I understand they don't have business skills, but developing a business plan is not developing business skills. And so that was the day when I had that thought. I left my corporate world. I opened up my consulting business, went full-time right away to teach entrepreneurs how to attract their ideal audience, how to make money right away so that they don't fail, and how to leave the legacy that they want to leave, which is the whole reason they decided to start a business in the first place. So long story short, to me, that is public relations. The money in the hands of good people doing good things is leaving a legacy. So that's my story.
That is absolutely fascinating. And I love that you actually touched, Stacey, on about the difference between a business plan, because you need business skills before you actually do the business plan. So I actually love that you touched on that, because that's a very confusing place to start. Wouldn't you need to build the skills before you do your business plan? You can't plan without the skills. So I love that you touched on that, because that's something that a lot of people, I think, really get stuck on and around. Now, I wanted to move forward with you and really talk about an endorsement that I seen on the front of the upcoming Power of Yes #2 in the series book. And it is from Joe Vitale, which most people will know from The Secret. And I think this is a very powerful endorsement. And he actually is quoted on the front of the book cover, "Dreams do come true. Get this book as the first step towards them and expect miracles." Wow. Wow, that is such a powerful thing, because I know that you are the organizer and the force with Lillian behind the Power of Yes series. And the Power of Yes represents building your network marketing business without leaving your comfort zone, because we're taught that success happens at the end of our comfort zone, and building a network marketing business without leaving your comfort zone. Can you talk just very briefly about what that actually means to you?
I'll do my best to do it briefly, because this is truly my passion. Again, going back to the network, people going into business, entrepreneurs, and more than ever throughout the world, people are leaving their corporate jobs and joining network marketing companies, because you don't have to purchase over, inventory. You don't have to have a storefront. You can do it from home, which is what people, that is the dream. That is one of the dreams. And yes, first off, shout out to Joe, longtime friend. So thrilled for his success. He's got a new book out coming too, so maybe you'll have him on. And he also recognizes how easy it is if we stay positive and focused on why we chose to go into network marketing in the first place. Network marketing has the ability to help anyone with no business skills or tons of business skills to be successful. The thing is, most, I'm going to say, sales gurus do teach two concepts that cause people to fail right away. They teach the concept that you have to get out of your own way, that you're the reason you're not making sales. And what happens then is folks who believe in that go to work on trying to improve themselves, and that takes all their time and all their energy and all their money, and they stop serving the world in the way that they knew innately they were supposed to do, instead of embracing their core values, which I believe is the comfort zone, and expanding on what they already do well and applying it to network marketing. They think they have to completely fix themselves instead of just being consistent, expanding what they already do well. So that's one area that I say you focus on your core values and building your business by what is true for you. You will attract people who resonate with that, right? Who are in alignment, Tracey, with that. And you'll see how fast your business will actually grow. And it will be like a dream, because it's like, where did these people come from? Well, they came from what you're putting out in the world. If you put out that you're needing fixing, who's going to come along like, well, when you're done fixing yourself, let me know, right? The other thing that sales gurus teach is go for no. Meaning, it's okay that people say no to you. Every no that you get is closer to a yes. And yet these same sales gurus will say this, like in the same breath, what you focus on is what you get. Well, so if I focus on no's, I'm going to get no's. How am I going to get a yes out of that? I'm not. And it's very damaging to our psyche. Psychologists and psychiatrists have done tons of studies. Just that word, and I won't say it again, because every time we think the N-O word, we depress ourselves. Again, do lots of research, everyone, on this, you will see. And so it just defies logic, truly, that we can ever be successful being prepared to go into battle and get no's and fight with them. Better that we attract people that align with us. And the Power of Yes book are stories written by network marketers, and not necessarily the top network marketers, people who have just joined in the last few months and people who have been in for years, and they're making a good life. It's good. It's like a dream for them. These are people who not necessarily got the yachts, folks. They're living the life they wanted to create for themselves by being in alignment and accepting who they are. And Tracey, like I said, I thought I could do it briefly. This is my soapbox, and I'm very passionate about making sure people stay in your comfort zone of what is true for you, what you believe in. That's the power zone. And
I love how passionate you are about that, and every single thing. And I'm totally in alignment with that as well, because every single thing ties back to our core values. And when we start expanding and growing on that, we don't have to reinvent ourselves. We just have to grow on what we know to be true to ourselves. So that is a really strong message as well. And I've got a couple of questions, Stacey, if that's okay, because I know that, and like I've mentioned previously, you are the force in organizing all of these collaborative authors together, which is a testimony to your empowerment and inspiration and motivation, and truly your passion with bringing all of these amazing entrepreneurs and authors together, no matter whether they're starting at the beginning, they're reinventing, they're restarting, or they're seasoned marketers, then bringing all of that into one juicy book, one sexy book that is producing so much value to the community for network marketing, and showing everybody so many different perspectives as well. Can I ask you, when did you first realize you wanted to be an author and share your story?
Oh, okay. So there's actually two answers to that.
Mm-hmm.
As a child, I loved to read. I did. And my mother would have to lock me out of the house and make me go play with kids because I could have spent days on end. Give me food and books and a flashlight at night. And I would just read and read and read. And as a result, I used to write plays and stories for myself as a child. Then I became an adult, and I told you about the public relations. That's where the writing came in. And my first book, I did not set out to write. In fact, because of that concept that to me, writing meant going into a cave and being separate from people, I had already had my entrepreneurial business going, and I was teaching workshops, and I was making money, and I was growing a very successful business. And what happened was somebody at one of my workshops said, would you write down what's in the workshop? I hadn't written anything. I would just do the workshop. I'd tell them to write it. I thought that was better, that they write it in their own words. And she said, you know, you're really missing out because there's so many people who won't be able to get to your workshops. You should think about writing a book. So I started thinking, and then of course, what you think about, you get. So more and more people kept asking me. And then one day, and I kid you not, this was in the age of faxes. I know I'm dating myself. I was in my home office. We had a fax. My husband's a realtor. He had the fax machine for that. And over the fax machine, unsolicited, came this promotion for an all-day free workshop on how to write a book. Mm-hmm. Every session was how to write a book, and it was all day for free. And I think you're trying to tell me something. And so that's how it started. I went to the workshop. I got some ideas. I'm like, oh, okay. And it's just gone from there. The producing, though, I never really thought I'd be a producer of books. So shout out to Lillian Barkowski, who is the publisher. Her and her company publish the books. I had this idea 2 years ago. It came out of my mouth. I was talking to my mentor, and he said, so what do you see yourself doing ultimately? And Tracey, do you know who Louise L. Hay is? I mean, she's passed now. Do you know the name?
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
You got it. It came out of my mouth that I wanted to be the next Louise L. Hay. You know, and she started a publishing company, and she produced events and workshops. I had already started doing some of that. And the only thing I hadn't done was produced a book. And that was 2 years ago that came out. And I actually wrote it down. You know, what you write down eventually manifests. Well, sure enough, earlier this year, just a few months ago, I was asked to be in a summit. I reached out to the other people in the summit to say hello. One of those people was Lil. We decided to just have a chat and get to know each other better. It was co-summit presenters. And in explaining who I was and what I do, I said, and I've been in the network marketing industry for years. And she said, we're thinking about writing a compilation book or putting together a compilation book for the network marketing industry. Would you like to write a chapter? And I said, no, like without even thinking, I said, no, I've already got 2 books out there of my own. I want to be your partner, and I'll be the producer. You print it, I'll attract the people, and I'll teach them how to become authors. And so there you go. That's how the book came to be. We attracted in the first one 48, which was, I love you all of you. It was great from all over the world. We had people from Africa and like little bitty countries, you know, that you've never heard of, and Australia and Canada, the UK and the US, all over the world. These authors came. We realized we did it. It was a lot to put 48 authors into a book. So we scaled it back for the second book. There's 25. I think that's the perfect number of authors. And so there'll be 25 in book number 2.
I think that's amazing. And Yeah, just a quick reference. Louise L. Hay was the first kind of development book that I ever read, and I've still got it on my bookshelf today. And that's what got me into reading books long before I knew what even personal or professional development was. So that's the law of attraction, right? The law of attraction. Our
That's
vibe
right.
attracts our tribe. It is true. It is very true. Now, what was one of the most surprising things that you learnt in producing or writing the book?
You mean the Power of Yes book?
The
The
Power of Yes
producing this
book.
one? Yes, because I actually just wrote the conclusion. I didn't actually write one of the chapters. My role was to stay focused on supporting the authors, because most of the authors in this book, in both books, have never been authors before. They're social media experts, all of them. They're used to writing blogs or doing a live or writing a post. And I wanted to show them that they could expand on their thoughts and become authors. And many of them are now going on to write their own soul books, which is very cool. So I don't think there was anything really surprising. Let me see if I can find anything interesting. And in both the first book, which is on how network marketing does help us create dream lives, this one is how it helps us to stay in our comfort zone and still be successful. It is the triumph over tragedy. How many people have gone through really sad, troubling times and been able to find the resiliency to bounce back, and how they did it, and how vulnerable they were willing to be and transparent in sharing their story in both books. That to me was they're courageous. Everyone, they're both women and men, and very courageous in telling their true story.
And that's the power of story. It's so relatable, and it's so much needed now. I think we're brought up on these social expectations that vulnerability is weakness, and I think it's so much a strength and a courage, that it takes so much courage to be vulnerable and to share that transparency. And if it's not for you, Stacey, bringing that community together to provide a safe space for them to feel comfortable to share those stories. So that's a testimony to you and Lillian as well, providing that space and providing that respect for their stories as well, to be able to pull it all together and know that it's going to be treated with dignity and respect when it's actually released as well, in such a professional form. So that's a real testimony to yourself and to Lillian for supporting all of the authors in that space as well. And what do you wish the reader of the book will take away?
We say that this is a book designed to motivate, inspire, and uplift and confirm. So that when somebody, whether it is primarily for network marketers, it can be for any entrepreneur or anybody who wants to be inspired, that you could open up to any of the stories, not linear, you could just open one up and read somebody's, where they came from, what they went through, where they are now, and know that if they could do it, so can you. So that would be the motivation, the inspiration, the upliftment, because every story ends with a positive approach. I'm not going to say necessarily a positive ending, because that sounds like a fairy tale, a positive viewpoint on whatever they've been through and where they're going in the future. And then confirmation is, see, it isn't that everybody that you see has had it all together. Most of us have not had it all together. We figured out how to get it together. And so no matter where you are in your journey, if you're in the before, the middle, or the after, you'll see yourself and know that it's all okay. And so that's the primary purpose of this book. And I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Network Marketing Magazine, George Madu, who's been consistently publishing the Network Marketing Magazine for 16 years to do the exact same thing. And so I'm not the first to bring stories to light and encouragement. He's been doing it through a magazine. This is, though, the very first book of its type or series of its type in the network marketing world. And whereas in the magazine, it's been primarily people, the names you would know, Jim Rohn, Jim Britt, Russ Devan, those, big names. In our book, these are names you might not ever hear about if it wasn't for the book.
I think that's so powerful within itself as well. So there's such clarity in failing forward. And sometimes we do get caught into that comparison, even when we don't mean to. So comparing our chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 10, we know that somebody that you're looking at that you may think has got it all together, when you go back and see their story of how they actually started getting it together, that's where the inspiration comes into it. So thank you very much for sharing that. And do you feel like you need to go out of your comfort zone to be successful? It was one of my questions that I wanted to ask you, but I think we've already addressed that, because we're told by the gurus, as you touched on, that, go for no and things like that. Well, if we're just using that attraction marketing, if we're just speaking human to people, then it will actually create a pool of people that want to work with you for who and what you stand for based on your core beliefs. So I think we've already touched on that. And what have you got coming up in 2022, Stacey Hall?
2022. All right. Is it all right, though, if we go back and touch on it? Because I can expect that people are saying, well, then why does everybody say get out of my comfort zone? And it makes a great excuse. And Tracey, the reason I want to bring it up is what I'm teaching, this principle that I'm teaching, everybody would love for it to be true. They have difficulty believing it. In fact, I did a post once in a women's group, very large women's group on Facebook. And I said, what if it was possible to be successful without leaving your comfort zone? I received hundreds of comments on that post. Hundreds. 99.99% of them were negative. And this is the first and only time I've ever gotten people commenting and cursing at me on Facebook, literally using actual curse words, that I would even consider such a thing. So that's why I wanted to bring it up, because why would that be if I'm sharing, and I've coming up in 2022 is exactly how to do this. I actually did write another book. My third book is coming out called Selling from Your Comfort Zone, because so many people are asking me okay, I got the thought, now how do I do it? So in that book, it's just me, and I'm going to be teaching you. It'll come out in July. And if people will be able to contact me through you, Tracey, if they want to get on the list for the party. We're going to have a big old party with gifts and guests and all of that when it's released. So please, folks, ask me to come to the party. We're having a release party for, of course, The Power of Yes, too. Going back to why would people be so upset? Because think of how much money, and it makes me cry. Think of how much money people have spent on personal training workshops and seminars and retreats, because they believed they were in their own way and they had to learn how to get out of their own way. And even though those retreats may have produced some breakthroughs, they're still not making the sales. They're still not having the business they want, because they're still being told there's something to fix there. So if in order to release, and right now some people may be turning this podcast off, and I understand, and I'm not attempting to make anybody feel bad at all. And I can understand that sometimes we want to hold on to something that we believe to be true, even when we know inside it doesn't feel right. And we think that feeling of not right is us not being in alignment. Something, no, that is our gut telling us that what we're being told isn't right. It isn't true, and it's not in alignment with our core self.
That is so true. That is so true. And I think that's why we're so in alignment as well, Stacey, because I bring everything back to core values, and I base my friendships and my network on my own core values as well. So serving from your core values makes sense, makes total sense. And we know that you've got some big things planned for 2022. We will be sharing where to actually connect with you. If you want to reach Stacey Hall, either contact myself. We'll be sharing out Stacey's links of where to contact her and all of the goodness that she does spread around the world with her inspiring and motivational speaking, and with her summits and with her groups and all that she does in the network marketing space and more as well. And the Power of Yes presents building your network marketing business without leaving your comfort zone. This is the Power of Yes series, book number 2. Stacey Hall has got some upcoming events that are going to be revolutionary, change your perspective, inspire you, motivate you, and empower you just to be you, because she is the power of yes, and she is the go for yes gal. That is what she is known for. Have you got any last words for our listeners today, Stacey?
Well, yes, I'm going to say, Tracey, you are amazing. I appreciate all the accolades. If in any way, shape, or form something's opened up for somebody in what I said, if you're uncomfortable with what I said, I want to apologize again. It was not my intention. And I'm going to say to you, if you're uncomfortable, if something's starting to open up, can you be with the possibility that maybe business doesn't have to be hard? Maybe there's nothing wrong with you. Maybe the people who are successful teaching to get out of your comfort zone, that for them being assertive or doing that was their comfort zone. They were comfortable doing that. If you're not, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. And Tracey, as I said, you are amazing. I want to come back to that you teach what true attraction marketing is. And most people don't know, I actually introduced the term 25 years ago now, pretty close to. I did. In my first book, Attracting Perfect Customers, nobody talked about attraction marketing prior to that. I coined the phrase the strategic attraction planning process and called it attraction marketing. Up until that point, people were still calling business war. You got to go out and do war. You got to suit up. Got to get tough skin. Okay. It's still being taught, but now people just put the label attraction marketing on it. And that's not true. So I'm here to tell you all, we're not using attraction marketing anymore. We're using the term alignment marketing now.
Like that.
That's it. And so it's about being in alignment with ourselves, being in alignment with each other, being in alignment with our message, being in alignment with our products and services. And when we're in alignment, there's no way that war can ever, warlike terms, warlike thoughts, they just don't exist. So thank you, Tracey, for giving me the opportunity and the platform to make that announcement.
I love that. Alignment marketing. This is I've just found my new power word for 2022, Stacey. I was wondering what my power word would be, and I think it's now alignment.
It is.
Thank you so much for being brave to share your story and the lives that you're impacting with your passion and your purpose for profit. And we'll be sharing where to connect with you, where to purchase, and look on Amazon for the Power of Yes series to be able to purchase your books. You are so appreciated, Stacey. And you can find the Victim to Victory podcast series on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and our Facebook group. So please subscribe, share, and comment to be the change that the world needs. Yes, the world needs you to be the change. And let me leave you with a message of figure out who you are and do it on purpose. Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you.